Hey guys, here we are in the Mercedes F1 car at the Hockenheim Ring Grand Prix circuit for a short track guide. Now before I get to the hot lap and the analysis, I just wanted to mention that we're using the fixed iRacing Grand Prix Tour setup with the 56.5 brake bias. And here are the track settings that were used, 68 degrees air temp, 83 degrees track temperature, 12 mile per hour southeast wind, and 50% track usage. So I'm going to show you the hot lap first in full speed, and then I'm going to break it down in slow motion in a few different angles. Enjoy. So there was the lap of a 110.559, and now on to the track analysis. So before I even start the lap, I want to mention that the whole mindset that I'm thinking of when I drive this track is, even though we don't have like Azerbaijan or Baku in iRacing, I try to almost think of this track that way because there are a lot of long straights, especially that long curved left hill or left hander on like the back straight, and all these long straights go into like very tight slow corners. And so the main approach is trying not to lock your tires up into these slow corners and getting good exit out of them. So if you just try to focus on like those key aspects, I think you'll do really good here. But the main, or just starting the lap here, just going in slow motion, the approach actually is really critical. So like this double right-hander to start the lap or out of the final few corners, you really want to put together kind of as one long corner. That way you can get a nice exit. There's a lot of like curbings right past the blue and white curbs. You don't want to hit those too much, but then out of the final corner you can really use all the blue and white curbing on the exit. I don't use all of it here, but one important thing is that this first corner is really fast. You can see I start the DRS initially, but the thing is you can almost take this first corner flat, and if you don't get on the brakes at all, the DRS doesn't deactivate, so I actually have to manually deactivate it before I get to the braking zone. So I'm manually deactivating it around the 100, and I'm trying to brake. You're going so fast here that's hard to nail the braking zone, but I'm like right at the start of the curb to the 75 meters. There's not really any brake, but you can see it's a partial let off there, and then the turn in, you can see just beforehand when I let off the DRS right before. That's not automatic, that is manual change. Partial brake, partial lift off there. And then by the apex, getting back to full gas, using up all the curbing, and then trying to get back to the track before you get a 1x there, real easy to do. So going to the left-hand side of the track, just keeping up all the speed you can. Really easy to overshoot this braking zone. You really don't want to do that. So just braking just past the 100 at the start of the curb here, maybe even a little bit before the 100. 5 quick downshifts, but waiting till third a bit later than the others. See trailing off, and then not getting too close to that yellow sausage curve. That'll really upset the car if you hit it. But kind of just keeping the middle of the track here. Just don't overshoot that corner because just bringing it back just loses you so much time. So getting back to full throttle, and then bring the car all the way or mostly over to the curbs. You don't really need to ride it over if you feel the tires resistance aren't using that or aren't needing to bring the car over. Once you get past the DRS activation point, uh, activate the DRS, and then you can see that I'm actually manually bringing down the brake bias 56.5 to down to 56.3. I could probably bring it even down all the way to 56.0, but you're really just wanting to focus on first of all, on this left-hander, shortening the distance as much as possible, just holding left-hand side next to this curb here. But also as you get up to this hairpin, I would say while locking up is one of your concerns, I would say the biggest concern is the fact you want to have the front loaded because it's such a tight hairpin. You want to make sure that you can trail brake as you trail brake into the corner, you're getting the car rotated, and it's easy to if you don't have enough brake bias in the car or if it isn't positioned correctly, the front might not be loaded in the right way. So I would say there's two ways to approach this, either braking super late and getting a late apex or just trying to hug the corner. But I'd say either way or braking just around like the 80 meters or so, just past the 100, and quick downshifts like to second. And then once you get to the apex, then you're downshifting to first right around there. Really super easy to spin the tires and spin out here with getting on the throttle too early with see such high revs. I'm really having to manage the throttle not to spin the rear tires up too far and being cautious with the throttle. As soon as I get to the end of third, finally getting back to full throttle. But yeah, I'd say that's probably the most challenging part of this track, honestly, just the exit of that corner. I spun out so many times trying to get it right. So just practice that a bunch, and I think you'll be able to get the hang of it. But as we're bringing the car back over to the right-hand side for this tight left-hander, I'm looking at the right-hand side when this curbing ends, and there's like this asphalt, kind of like this little road. And that's when I'm starting to get on the brakes. See, just as it starts there, and like 80% brake pressure, trailing off into third, trying not to hit this inside sausage curb, and a late downshift to second. Then getting back on the throttle, partial throttle through here, and as soon as you can strain up the wheel, getting back to almost full throttle, as you can see, finally back to full throttle. And then this approach here, you're full throttle, but you don't want to pinch this wheel too much. You can really get the rear tire spun around, or the whole car spun if you're just turning the wheel too much. You got a lot of lateral G-force on the car at this point, so really minimizing the steering input. That's the same exact approach that you're having to this next corner. You cannot take it flat, or if you can, good luck with that, because it's right on the edge of grip, and you just need to let off a little bit just to take the force off the tires. You can see about half throttle as we approach into the corner, just trying to nail the curbing, trying not to upset the car too much, unwinding the wheels smoothly, using up all the blue and white curbing, quickly bringing the car back over to the right-hand side, using the 50 board as a brake marker, maybe braking just a bit before, like around the 60 or so, and downshifting from 7th to 3rd gear here. Really easy place to lock up the left front tire, so just being smooth on that brake. And the banking seems to fall off quite quickly. You can see our car understeering over to the right-hand side here, so trying not to use too much of their AstroTurf. Then bring the car to the left-hand side of the track, avoiding this sausage curb over on there. It's pretty blind, as you can see, but just keeping the car over to the left-hand side as much as you can as you approach the final two corners. Once again, just like before we started this lap, trying to just tap the brakes in. You can't see where the curbing is at this point, but you just kind of have to trust to where it's going to be, trying to treat these double right-handers almost like one if you can, kind of bring the car over to the right, or bring the car over to the left at the blue and white curbing, and then back to full throttle as soon as you're able to commit these soft tires after doing this whole lap. They're almost really hot at this point, so you just got to be cautious about the hot rear tires sliding out of this final corner. So back to full throttle, waiting for the DRS activation point, and coming to the finish line, and that's a lap around the Hockenheim ring. So I'm going to show this lap again from chase view, but obviously the line isn't super important, but just more about finding those braking points, not overshooting the corners, and I would say most importantly, getting the front of the car loaded as you get into the hairpin and being cautious on the throttle coming out of it and out of a lot of corners. So yeah, hopefully this track guide was helpful, and I'll just show the lap one more time from chase view. thanks for watching, guys. Let me know if you have any questions, and good luck in these races. And yep, see you next time.